Hi, my name is Robert Least and I'd like to welcome you to this edition of Design with Robert, where I'll go over tips and how-tos for your home and garden. So today I'm going to go over how to plant seeds in the wintertime for your summer garden. So to start with, why do you even want to do that? Well, mainly because you can get a lot better varieties of plants, both in flowers and in vegetables, in seeds than you can at the garden centers. Another reason is because it's a lot more cost effective. You can plant a lot more seeds, buy different varieties than you can if you were to go out and just buy them as plants already grown in your garden center. And lastly, just because it's a fun thing to do. You know, it's a great thing to maybe get your kids or just for you yourself to just try to grow some plants from seeds and then plant them in your garden. It's just sort of a neat feeling to watch it go from the beginning process to the end process throughout the whole season. So to start with, the materials that you need. You're going to need some type of a tray. This is just a standard planting tray that I like to use. You could also do something like you could take a gallon milk carton, cut it in half, and that could be your tray that you would eventually fill with soil and then just put the seeds in. After that, you're also going to need some type of a soil. The soil that I like to use this is just designed specifically for seeds. The difference between a seed soil and a regular potting soil is just that all the larger pieces in the soil have just sort of been screened out. So you just have a very fine soil that's made out of peat and mica, and the design of that is just so that it absorbs water, so that it doesn't dry out as fast, so that your little seedlings have a nice little moisture base for when they're growing. You're going to have water, and you're going to need some seeds, and you're going to have to find a nice location in your house where the plants can get some sun. So let's start. So first you have your container that you're going to put the soil in. So you take your soil, fill it into your container, and then you're going to push the soil down. So after that step is done, then you're just going to give it all a really nice watering. What you want to do is you'll notice that when soil sits for a while, or it's just coming out of the bag, it's very dry. So you want to make sure that the soil absorbs the moisture into it. When the soil's really dry and you just put water on top of it, the water just sort of will bubble up on top. That's a natural effect, and that'll eventually just sort of soak into the trays. Any excess water that's in the tray, then I just take and I will dump it out. So once you have your soil that's nice and damp, you don't want to get it too wet, because if seeds sit in over waterlogged soil, they can rot over time. So you just want a nice damp soil. Then you're going to take some type of a little device. I have this little tool right here. You could use a pen, you could use a nail, whatever you have just lying around. And you want to dig just a little hole in the soil to plant your seed. Soil depth, make sure you refer to your seed packets and things like soil depths. Just sort of a rule of thumb is that you want to just get the seed below the soil surface. So the bigger the seed, the deeper that it's going to go. So right here, I have a zinnia seed. Not that you can see that, it's there on the end of the tip of my finger. I have made a little hole there in the soil. Going to put it in, push it into that hole a little bit, and cover it up, and there you go. So it's as easy as that. So once you get all your seeds planted, go ahead and make a map for how you have the seeds planted in your container. Because there's nothing worse than all of a sudden not realizing what you have planted if you have a mixture of tomatoes or different varieties of tomatoes and knowing which variety is what. So make a good map. You got your map done, tape it to the outside of your container, and there you go, and then you have something to follow as the seedlings start coming along. So you have it planted, you have your map on there. When I like to use a container that has a lid on it. One of the main reasons for that is it keeps the heat in. So that way the seeds need that heat to germinate. It also keeps the moisture trapped inside of here as well. So as the water evaporates, it'll condense onto the top of the lid, and then when the droplets get big enough, it just sort of re-waters the soil again. So here is an example of something that I started a few weeks ago. These are some tomato seeds and some peppers that haven't quite germinated yet. Have the map there on the front. You can see how the water has been evaporated onto the top. This has been sitting in a sunny window. Take that off. And then there you go. If you look, you'll notice that not every seed has germinated. And you know that's pretty standard. When you buy a new packet of seeds, you might get about 95% germination rate, and which is fine. If something doesn't germinate, then just throw another seed in there and you're pretty good to go. Note that you can keep your seeds year after year. So if you don't use them all the first year, then just keep them. I just keep mine in the garage. And all that really happens is maybe next year you'll get a couple more that just don't germinate. So just the germination rate per seeds go down. But as long as you have the seeds, keep them and you can plant them another year. So these seedlings are right at the height where they're reaching the top of the container. So now it's time to take the top off. When I did these were all tomatoes, and then I had some peppers. Peppers take a little bit longer to germinate, so the peppers in this packet haven't germinated yet. So what I'll do is I'm just going to take this little packet out, and I'm going to add it to another seed tray, and then just give them a little bit more time to germinate. After this, I'll let these guys grow. I'll water them. When you're watering, it's easiest if you have a nice little spray bottle that you can just sort of spray the soil. It's easier to water the little seedlings with a spray bottle because it's not as disruptive to the seedlings. When they get a little bit better, it's easier to water than with a can. So keep these guys in a nice sunny location. Keep them watered. Once they get a little bit bigger, then you can transplant them up. I'll take these tomato seeds seedlings when they get a little bit bigger and put them into a 2x2 inch container. Still keep them in the sun indoors, and then I'll plant them in May. When we're all good to go. Here in Denver, we can plant right around Mother's Day. I usually plant my seeds about 3 months in advance. So I'll start them here in Denver about the beginning of February. And that just gives me a nice time to get the plants going, to get them healthy, to get them a good size, so that once I plant them in the garden, I don't have to wait for a lot of growing time. And that is about it. Then you just, for the rest of the season, get to enjoy all your plants. So if you have any questions, just shoot me an email at designwithrl@gmail.com and visit my website at www.designwithrobert.com. Thank you.